So let's cut to the chase. I mean, this movie, and I'll quote you only to begin. The intro of your video, which says, "A simple story, if executed well, can be your source of romancham," something like that. You said. So,
Yeah.
romancham. The word itself means entertainment, and what what
Goosebumps.
is like, yeah.
Goosebumps.
So, what is that one thing that you thought that, okay, this is why this is clicking with people? Because,
I think it's the lifestyle that was portrayed of these
okay,
seven friends living together. Like there are two, three things which I think really clicked. One is the entire lifestyle that was kind of portrayed,
mm,
and because it's very relatable. You see one person, couple of people trying to get a job interview, score a job interview, and
mm,
not able to get a job. One person who's like, you see that person is completely stable, has a
mm,
bike, goes to a job, does a 9 to 5 job. One wants to live their passion, live their
mm,
dream. One is doing a business. So all of these things, like somewhere, this is us.
mm,
You know, the day-to-day struggles and bachelors living is. I think this would really click with the bachelors who live together, and because
yeah,
this is primarily set in Bangalore,
yeah,
right? So one is that the relatability factor, and
mm,
I think the second for me particularly was the conversations. Like the
mm,
conversations were so, it didn't feel like dialogues. It
yeah,
felt like everyday conversations that we have with our friends and all of that. So I think
mm,
the relatability factor was very very high, and then the third and the final thing is just it's just light-hearted. There's just
mm,
no, like I said this in my review also, the movie is not trying to be a masterpiece or trying to
mm,
get any nuanced message across. It's just there. This is
mm.
it. This is the event that happened in their lives, and yeah, just have fun with it. I think
So,
that's what.
absolutely. I mean, but do you think this sort of a movie where the lifestyle is so relatable in a way, a lot of people live that sort of lives, when they are kind of in between jobs or jobless or that kind of a thing. Do you think this was somewhere missing in Malayalam cinema in the recent past, the kind of movies we have seen? Because a lot of times the movies are like whatever I have covered in recent times, there has not been this kind of a movie. So, do you think somewhere because this kind of a light-hearted or this genre was missing for a long time, that's why people are going to the theaters and with families? I've heard in Kerala.
So one, that's one important thing. Like with family, I
Yeah.
think people specifically, I'll talk about this industry only, and then you can extrapolate it to the entire industry, like across. Is that
Mm,
now we have the surge of the larger than life massive
mm,
films, right? So everything
yeah.
has to be larger than life. And I
Yeah.
think there is now a surge of those films, and that will keep continuing because now people are thinking that, oh, this is what is going to, you know, get the people in the theaters. But then you had a film, like, I don't know if you watched Malikapuram or not.
No, not yet.
So when I went to watch that film again, I said that in my review that if a film like Kantara can work because it almost had similar beats, where you see the devotion of a little girl and all of that. So that was also a family film. So what you said
Mm,
about going with the families, when I did the review for Malikapuram, this is what people were saying in the comments that we were really missing, taking our families and,
mm,
taking a whole bunch of family and watching a film and just
yeah.
enjoying it. And then Romancham is also filling that gap, that where you just go with your families and all your friends, just sit back, relax, forget about everything else for the next 2 hours or so.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you're set. Just enjoy and come out. That's all.
Yeah, and the thing is, so while researching, I also found out that this is partially a true story. Like the director himself, with his
Yeah.
friends, experimented this kind of stuff, and that's where the story was originated. And he ended up making a film out of that. So, do you think somewhere because it was something that was personal and happened to the director in real life, that's why there is a bit more authenticity to it, because generally these kind of movies fall in that fantasy sort of genre, things which
The
probably
horror.
don't exist in real life, but if
Yeah,
that person has gone through it to some extent, I'm sure some of it is fictionalized also, but
correct.
because of that, do you see a little bit of authenticity in the in how it all got executed eventually?
I think the authenticity part technically is because, like I said, for me the most authentic part is are the dialogues, are the interactions.
Mm.
It never felt like, okay, yeah, these are your lines. Now say it in this
Yeah.
expression. I feel that the director was like, okay, this is how the
Mm.
conversation is going to go. Your
Mm.
character is like this. Your character trait is like this. So this is how you will talk.
So
So I
felt more like improv than
yeah, I don't
uh,
know. For me particularly, it felt a lot like improv. Maybe it is because sometimes when you are saying the banter is going on because there's a lot of banter between
yeah,
the friends in the film.
yeah,
So I feel that at one point of time, yeah, you start with the dialogues, but then in the flow of things, it probably becomes improv. And then you have this horror element, and I feel that I have at least not witnessed a lot of horror comedies in Malayalam cinema. Have I?
mm.
I don't think so. I think this is
Mm.
the first one I'm witnessing. Though the horror part was kept at the minimal, it was
Yeah.
more of comedy. But yeah, I think that probably worked. Like the horror genre and the relatability factor. I think both of them. I think it was blended out really well. The balance of everything was great
But
overall.
you also mentioned in your review that the horror part was kind of underplayed. Probably, it was not on the forefront as much the comedy was. So, do
Yeah,
you think that was like? Do you think that was a conscious choice made by the director because he didn't want to make a horror film, or do you think it just organically, the script was in such a way that it was supposed to be like this?
I think it was a conscious choice. It feels like in
Mm.
retrospect, when I'm thinking about the film, I feel that this was more of a conscious choice because I don't think they really intend to scare us through the film. Like
Mm.
even if there are like bits and pieces of the jump scare of that ghost, say Anamika is there. Like
Yeah.
I don't feel threatened by Anamika that much,
Mm.
but I don't think it was really intentional. Like no, we're gonna just spook you completely and then you're gonna get the jitters and all.
Yeah.
I think the director wanted it to be more in the light-hearted note that you can come with your families,
Mm.
sit and relax and just enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, I think he and how well he casted people for each and every role, like uh, the dynamics between the people, and I think that has a lot to do with the right casting for the right character because
Right,
there was so much of acting and reacting, rubbing off each other's energy, and that can come out on screen very well only if the dynamics between the characters and the actors who are prepared for that role are done, like the homework is done very well beforehand. That's when it's possible. So
correct.
what did you think about the fact that you know it's not just a Shobin Sahir film, it's
Yeah,
everybody's film as much as it is his film, although he's the bigger name here, but
yeah.
it's everybody had equal amount of role to leave an impact.
Right. I think it is literally everybody's film, and I think that's the way it should be because when you are casting such a big ensemble, I mean,
Yeah.
it would have looked pretty odd that if it was a one-person story
Mm.
because everybody's getting effect. Everybody's playing that particular game.
Yeah.
If it was
Yeah.
just okay, Sobin's character Jibby has done something, and that
Mm.
ghost is particularly after Jibby, and then he's
Mm.
going through all of that. That would have been a completely different story. But here,
Mm.
everybody is playing this game and contacting the ghost and just having a
Yeah.
gala time. So we have to show that it's affecting literally each and every person living in that roof. I
Mm.
specifically loved the part where the guy who has the job, I think he's called Riven,
Mm.
that character's name. So then he's forgetting the path and all of that, and that is constantly being said that, oh, I forgot. Because initially I thought, okay, it's just a small thing. He has forgotten. Then the
Yeah.
petrol gets over. Then the way it escalates for his character, and slowly, slowly, slowly for all the characters, you see that okay, everybody in their own way is getting affected. That
Mm.
was nice. I like that the screen time was pretty much equally divided. I would say, yeah, Sobin did get a
Mm.
little bit more screen time because then his and Arjun Ashokan's
Mm.
friendship part was also highlighted there. But still, I think it was a fair screen timing for all the cast.
And speaking of Arjun, I think he caught my eye most,
Yeah,
in the film more than anybody else. His expressions and the way it felt like it all came so naturally to him. It didn't feel like he was playing a character,
yeah,
and that's why, like, and I saw somewhere that even Tovino was approached for Sobin's role, but
oh,
even if he was there, I'm sure Arjun would have still have had same energy on screen, and he definitely stole the show for me. Like, if you had to pick one standout performer, who would it be for you?
yeah. Same. Even I said this in my review that for me, Arjun completely stands out, and it's really a testament to his performance because he gets introduced in the second half where you have
Hmm.
already built this kind of certain kind of
Yeah.
emotional connect with all the other characters, and suddenly you bring in a new character who just completely steals the show. So
Hmm.
that says a lot, not just about his acting but the writing also, because to
Absolutely.
integrate the character so organically and
Hmm.
make us sit up and pay attention to it,
Hmm.
so that takes good writing and direction as well, along
And
with good acting.
to leave a mark also, like to get lesser amount of screen time because you're introduced in second half, but then
Right.
you are standing out even after that. So kudos to
Correct.
him. Last question, like, what are your expectations from part 2 now, if I ask you?
My honestly, my expectations are that firstly, I want Arjun Ashoklan to be given like the weirdest lines and the weirdest kind of dialogues because I want him to go all out with his
Okay.
character there because I think he has the I mean, his face, if you see, there are certain close up shots where he's just smiling. He has
Yeah.
that creepy face, and I was seeing the screen, and I was like, he can do such a good creepy face with that smile. Like, a lot of people cannot do that naturally. It takes a lot of
Yeah.
practice when you're smiling and your eyes are like dead
Mm.
completely. And he just did it so perfectly. So, I would want to see his role, like, he explored more. And I want to see a little bit more of friendship angle between Jimmy and Arjun, like because when he had to tell Shinu was his character's name, right?
Mm.
Arjun's character's name. So when Jimmy had to tell Shinu that no, please leave, uh, that was a very emotional moment. So why are
Mm.
they such good friends? And maybe that story can be explored. And somebody wrote in the comments that apparently the director already has the climax in his head, like how it's going to end.
Okay.
So he has prepared all of that. Like he knows how to end the film. It's just how to get there. He just
Mm.
doesn't know it yet. That's unclear. So let's see. Let's wait. So I really want some more wacky stuff, and I think maybe they can up the horror element more here. So that's what I
and
want.
and and special mention for the music, because you also
Oh,
mentioned it in your review, and me being a musician, I think I've talked to Sushin Sham once on Instagram, because I've been so inspired by his work in past also, and here he just whacked it out of the park, like the kind
oh.
of score and the timing of the score, I mean, that matters
The
even more.
song placements and the songs
Yeah.
itself. I loved the songs of this film. Really, really
Yeah.
loved it. And he is the I love his compositions. He just knows, he just gets it somehow. Yes.
So we'll see you all later on. Thank you so much for joining, guys. People who are watching on replay, if you have reached till here, thank you so much for watching it all the way
Your
throughout.
thoughts on the film in the comments below.
Yes, please. What do you expect from Romancham 2?
Subscribe to Keshav's channel.
And subscribe to Ashmita's channel as well. I'm sure if you have not, I'm surprised if you have not till now. So bye bye then. See you soon.
Bye. Ta-da.